broadcasting live from Houston, from the space city to the world. You are watching Now Media Television.
We are back. Glad to see you. My next guest is a gentleman that will dig inside your head and make your business better. Wait a minute. What? Well, you know what? Let's talk about it. The leader of Empower Business Coaching, Mr. Dennis Mosley. Dennis, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing great. Good to see you. Thanks for swinging by. Now, Empower Business. Now, I'm going to guess there's a little play on words there somewhere. Talk to me about how your consultancy, your business got started.
Well, I have been very fortunate to get some very good training as I was in leadership in a number of businesses. Mm-hmm. And some of that training was really expensive. And I started thinking, where's a niche where I could apply some of that and give a little bit back? And that's for small business owners and commissioned salespeople. A lot of those people don't have the time or the funds to hit the training that I got. And so I'm using this mechanism to give some of that back.
Oh, I see. Okay. And so now I would imagine that as you were getting started in your business career, you may have had a mentor or two
a couple
to help you get going. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So what type of services do you provide exactly through Empower?
Okay. Well, I work solely with small business owners and commissioned salespeople. When I say small business owners, that's people with companies under 20 people. And then with that, I do classes, one-on-one coaching, and what I call peer advisory groups. Some people know them as mastermind groups.
I like that. Peer advisory groups. You and I were talking just during the break, and we're saying that in all likelihood, at least half of the work that you do with your coaching clients is not so much strategy as mindset. That's kind of what I was talking about with getting into your head. Now, what are some of the struggles that you see business owners, small business owners dealing with where you feel you can step in and help?
Well, a lot of it's about perspective. So when you're a small business owner, a lot of times you feel like you're on a desert island. You got to figure out every little problem on your own. When in reality, a lot of those problems have been figured out by the person in a business 3 doors down or across the street. So I try to bring a lot of that perspective and understanding that you are not alone. You have help out there and it's available.
That's got to be such a relief. As you say, I've heard it said that entrepreneurs spend an awful lot of time alone.
And recreating the wheel.
Yeah.
And so if you can take some of that time back from recreating the wheel and be able to use that to grow and take your business to the next level, whatever that means to you, whether that be growing the business financially or even getting more time to spend with your family, whatever it means to you, if you can quit recreating the wheel, you can reallocate that time.
Recreating the wheel. I want to explore this a little bit more. Let's set up a scenario. Okay. Suppose I've got a business. I'm a commissioned salesperson. I've got this great product or this great service that I'm working with, and I need to get it out into the marketplace. Maybe I'm just starting out and don't know what to do. Maybe I'm having a little struggle with getting my message across. And I call you up and I say, Dennis, I need some help, man. Okay. Now take me through your process in working with a new client.
My process with working with a new client is very personal. First of all, I need to know, what is your goal? Not what the goal is for the company, not what the goal is from your boss. What is your goal?
Interesting.
And let's work on achieving your goal, and a lot of the other things will fall into place. But do you need a script? Do you need this? Do you need that? Do you need another piece of the puzzle? Well, let's work on that. Working with someone recently, I need to make X amount of sales in this amount of time. well, what's your plan? Well, I'm just going to go out there and sell it. Well, that's not really a plan.
Hope is not a plan.
How many people do you need to contact?
Yes.
What's your average that you normally get? Oh, so if we do this, you need to find 7 people. Okay, how are we going to go about doing that? So we start putting together a plan and breaking it down into segmented parts. That way, you're not trying to eat that whole elephant in one bite.
It sounds like you take that big task, break it down into smaller bits so that it's much more palatable, much more manageable for that person to conceive of.
Absolutely.
One step at a time.
And, people a lot of times will fail at a big task because they're not getting any positive feedback until it's done. If you break it down into smaller segments, you're getting that positive feedback bit by bit by bit, and then one day it's all done.
Small wins. Small wins on a daily basis. Dennis, talk to me, if you would, about maybe one client you've had, obviously without revealing any confidences, a client that you've worked with where you felt and have seen that you were able to help them improve and grow their business in a way they hadn't been before.
Well, there are clients that I've worked with. There's one who works in the real estate industry. Mm-hmm. And as we've talked, he's become more and more successful. And it's been, I've got to sell a bunch of houses. Well, that's great, but how are you going to do that? Now he's out doing a little networking. He's doing the special things that make customers remember him. And it's not just I got a real estate license, let me sell your house.
So it becomes, for him, it sounds like a lot of your coaching and your work with him was in the area of helping him develop new relationships in the business community, create new connections.
Create new connections and just really branding himself in a sense. And I don't look at myself as a branding person, but giving ideas on maybe you can do this. How can you expand? One of the things that he and I talked about one day, and it came because I was buying a house. Mm-hmm. I'm a garage guy. Well, none of the houses had pictures of the garage. And they said, well, because generally the wife makes a lot of the decisions, so that's why there's a lot of kitchens and stuff. I said, there's a lot of guys out there buying houses that don't have a wife, or maybe there's a wife that actually likes to work in a garage. So why don't we, if it doesn't cost anymore, why not have a picture or two of a fantastic garage?
Some of the simplest things, but we just don't think about them in the moment.
It's perspective.
As you said.
So I've never been in the real estate business. So my perspective of problems that they happen don't fall along that same thought pattern because I have a different thought pattern on how things work.
You're providing a fresh pair of eyes.
Correct.
Looking at every business and every business situation, at every business opportunity.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I love that. We can all use that perspective.
I have a coach myself. To be a coach, you need to be coachable. And I believe in it so much that I have my own coach that helps me because they offer a different perspective than than my life experiences allow me to.
I love that. I love that, Dennis. It reminds me of a story I heard of, I'm a musician and singer, and it reminds me of a story that I heard about the late, great Luciano Pavarotti, who, greatest tenor who ever lived, and yet, almost to the day he died, he worked with a coach, with a vocal coach, because you can always get a different point of view, a different perspective. And it sounds to me, you mentioned that at the beginning, like all of your coaching is around, let's look at this situation from a little bit different angle.
Correct.
A little bit different perspective and point of view. And that's fantastic that you provide that service in our business community. Speaking of which, if one of our viewers, one of our local entrepreneurs wants to have a chat with you and discuss options for your coaching services, how do they find you?
Well, they can send me an email at dennis@m-powerbusiness.com, or they can just call me at 713-851-9872.
Well, there you go. Phone number is here on the screen, m-powerbusiness.com.
Yes.
And now, one final thing. You yourself said that you've had a coach, and I know that you've created some new connections and networking for your business by being also a member of a BNI chapter. How has that helped you in growing your business?
That's been a tremendous help. BNI is such a great group of people to get together, discuss business, offer each other help in finding new business, introducing each other to people that we come into contact with that need different services. And, you know, it helps me as a coach because I'm always that I have a guy. Do you have a guy that can do this? I got a guy.
You know, I got a guy. Oh, that's fantastic. That's one of the things that I really like about BNI. Anything you need, yep, I know a guy.
Yep.
There you go. Dennis, thank you so much for swinging by. Again, it's m-powerbusiness.com.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Glenn.
And you as well. And you as well. Come on back. Don't be a stranger.
All right.
We'll be back with our very next guest right after these words.